Hey Physique Freaks, how's it going? Scott Tuzan on MetabolicMasterpiece.com. I had my first experience with Fascial Stretch Therapy yesterday, and I recorded a segment of it to share with you. I'm going to have the therapist do a voiceover explaining exactly what she's doing to me there. Now this session we focused on my glutes, hamstrings, and hips, an area that's very tight on me. And you're going to see from the beginning to the end how my range of motion really sucked at the beginning of the session and how it improved by the end. Now, this is a highly debatable and controversial topic. Anytime you bring up fascia, you're going to hear some people say that fascia is basically as hard as steel. There's no way that you can manipulate it. And then there's other people who believe that you can manipulate it. You've probably seen videos of myself doing self-myofascial release with a lacrosse ball, foam roller, and rumble roller, where I am trying to find those trigger points in the fascia and release them by holding the ball or the foam roller there. It's an area that I don't fully understand. I do know that fascia basically connects to every single thing in your body, and it's a very important component of our overall health and well-being. It's an area that really intrigues me. I really look forward to seeing further research and studies on it. I think we're going to see a lot more studies on it in the very, very near future. So the one thing I don't fully understand is it the fascia that I'm releasing with a lacrosse ball, foam roller, rumble roller, or is it just tension in the muscle itself? Same thing with this fascial stretch therapy. Do I fully understand if it's the fascia that's being stretched here, or is it just my muscles that are being stretched? Bottom line is that at the end of the session, I felt absolutely amazing. My range of motion increased dramatically, and I felt really comfortable, especially the hip and glute area, especially the right side that's been really tight on me. Simple little tasks like bending down. It was a chore for me to bend down. I mean, it sounds kind of silly when I take great care of myself. I'm able to lift a lot of weights, but there's sometimes where I'm bending down. I just feel all tight and sore, and it's like after a killer leg workout and stuff like that. But the day like that later on that evening after this session, I felt incredible. Squatting down, no problem. Had a great workout later on in the day. Next day felt even better. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by it all. I think it's pretty fascinating. Whether it's fascia that's being stretched or not, all I know is that it felt great. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to continue to do it. She also worked on my shoulder last week, just really quick and brief, and I felt an immediate difference, immediate improvement with that as well. So I think there's something to it. I enjoy it, and I've been doing a lot of things to take care of myself lately, as you're going to see in upcoming videos. I'm really excited about that. So right now, there goes Chief. That's going to end this, but let's get to the footage of the session itself, and you can see it in action. Let me know your thoughts about this, if you've had any experience with it. I think it's pretty cool, and something that I'm going to dig into further. Let's get to that footage. Chief, you're being rude. He wants to play fetch. Where's that ball, Chief? Oh, there it is. We're going to play some fetch. All right. Talk to you soon. All right, so you've got me on the table here, and what are you doing to me at this point?
Well, you've decided to undergo an FST session with me. So in order to stretch your fascia, I initially have to assess to ensure what it is, where you're tight, where you're restricted. Taking a look at your hamstrings here, range of motion being slightly over 45 degrees. We'd like to get you up towards 90. So because it's your hamstring that's limited, I'm going to work into things such as your glutes and your low back. When I pull on your leg here, I traction from your joint capsule, because that's where the stretching originates from, allowing for synovial fluid to get back inside your joint. Yep.
So here we are at this point, and we definitely know that my range of motion is pretty limited. When you had my leg up there, I was tight. Like, I felt the tension. So right now, what are you doing with the subtle movements there?
Yep, so the circumduction, the oscillation that's happening here is, again, my assessment to find what point of resistance you're going to be sticky at. Once I have that point of resistance, I'm going to have you focus on your breathing so that you're in a relaxed state the entire time. There should be no pain in any of this movement, so I'm constantly assessing your face to make sure that you're not giving me any signs of telling me otherwise. So here, because you've got several deep rotators in your hip and in your glutes, I'm just getting a feel for where you're at. So the initial one here is just starting to loosen up that tissue.
So you had me take about 3 deep breaths here and exhale a few times through the range of motion.
Yeah, so I fan through almost like a pattern there where your knees kind of partial to your mid chest, and then it kind of fans across the rest of your torso. Just slightly targeting a different area, getting into this motion here. Again, I just want to kind of assess what new range of motion I've been able to gather from your glute muscle. I'm holding your knee to keep it from sliding forward so that I can access a little bit of a deeper tissue. Same breathing pattern 3 times. However, the fan starts towards your opposite ear. Same side ear, and then leading across to your opposite ear. So the stretch is a little bit deeper.
I gotta say, it's felt, it was a little tough as a client, as a patient of yours, to really let myself go, let myself really relax through this. The deep breathings kind of helped, and especially the breathing out there and just learning to relax. I really found myself tensing up every once in a while, trying to resist you, but definitely a big difference. I think there's, over time, building a rapport with your clients, kind of feeding off of each other is.
Yeah, and actually when I move you around a little bit before getting into a stretch, I'm earning your trust. I'm trying to get you to loosen up, just like when I wiggle on your foot there. I really am trying to tell your body and your tissues to relax, because during this whole process I feel that restriction, and sometimes it comes from just not knowing what's happening next. And so explaining to someone, that they're to let go is a lot easier said than done.
Right. Actually, I really enjoyed that the little ankle, the relaxing part at the beginning. It kind of felt quite nice, and it got me to relax. So we went through this 3 times. You spent about an hour and a half with me here, so we're only showing little segments of the whole process that we went through. I was blown away at how I felt afterwards, and then as the day went on, I felt looser and looser. I'm tight in my glutes, tight in the hips, the tensor fascia lata, and this just I'm really surprised at how well I responded to just after 1 treatment so far already. And I think you're going to reassess me coming up here in a second to see my mobility.
Yeah, so that scoop down here at the end is almost like the gravy of that motion when it becomes really tight, and all of a sudden I let go and slide through it is really that finishing touch that allows for you to just let go again. So leading into this reassessment, I'm able to gauge now that you've earned some more motion there.
Right, yeah, it was about 45 degree, and when we recorded at the beginning of the first section there, at 45 degree angle, I was tight. Like I felt the tension in my hamstrings. And here, when you're pushing me up, you stopped me at a point where I wasn't feeling as tight as I was in the beginning. I didn't feel tight at all. And here we're doing some PNF.
Yes. Yeah. So you're actually pushing into my hand with about 20% of your capability in order to maybe get a couple extra inches there, open up the hamstring through this segment here. PNF throughout the whole series is a little bit important, and again, that depends on someone's mobility in their joints, where if they are hypermobile, that PNF is going to allow for them to get stability in their joints, whereas some people need the traction, which creates space in their joint, allowing for fluid and nutrients to flow back inside the joint capsule. Static stretching, which has its benefits, sometimes can gum up our joints, where here you are, extremely tight.
Yeah, that leg sucks.
Tight, yeah. But static stretching can gum up our joints, where the motion here that we're gaining from our fascia allows for it to stretch the entire tissue and not just one area of your body.
Yeah, it was pretty shocking to see how limited the range of motion was for my right leg, but then very impressive by the end of it. And we'll see here coming up in a minute or two the difference between the 2 legs. But the difference between the right leg in the beginning initial assessment and then afterwards at the end.
Yeah, so traction is really important. I often will pull back on your joint just again keep it loose, keep it giving, a couple extra inches in mobility, range of motion, that kind of stuff.
And here, so these are some of the, actually this is what usually, I think you did this at the beginning of the treatment there. So here with the right leg, you just did the assessment, and then is this usually the first step?
Yeah, I'd always want to assess you. Lateral line typically is what I'm going to focus on first. Again, just to get a feel for your tissue, and that's typically the first tissue that wants to restrict itself. So when I was checking out here, I found that one of your legs wanted to externally rotate often, where it was hard for me to pull your lateral line at first. So to reassess was helpful. And this side actually gave me a little bit a tougher time to get you off the table and to really pull on that sideline of yours.
This felt absolutely amazing. I mean, all the way up, felt it kind of in the just above my hips, right along my sides, the obliques, transverse abdominals, but
Yeah,
hips
some people feel it right
open
to their
up.
armpit.
Yeah, that's unreal. It felt incredible. I was really enjoyed this whole process. It's been an eye-opening experience for me, for sure.
Cool. So here with your lateral line, most people actually won't feel pain, like I mentioned, throughout the whole treatment, but this one, most people find most tension, I guess, along that line, considering how often we don't move in lateral motion.
Right.
So that is a very restricted area on a lot of people.
And here we are, finished things up. So after all the treatment there, you see,
Wow.
that's a massive, like, dramatic change, and I've held on to that throughout the day and into
Cool.
the next day. So I'm really excited for this, and really great to have this service here at Beachwalk Fitness.